Hello art friends! Today we are going to be working with scratch paper. So scratch paper is really cool. It's a colorful piece of paper covered with black, and when you take a tool and you scratch it, you get to see the color underneath, and a little bit of black comes off on your tool. So this seems pretty straightforward, you understand it, but I want to give you guys a few tips. So the first tip is we are going to be using half of a popsicle stick. And the reason we do that is if you use the round side of your popsicle stick, you will get a thick line. And if you just rotate it and you use the pointy part of your popsicle stick, you will get a thin line. And that can be really helpful when you're making your picture. So a couple of tips. Your hand has oils in it. And if you get those oils on your page, the scratch paper stops working in that area. And that's not good. We don't want that. So you've got to do your best not to be touching your paper too much. And what you can do is just grab a piece of scrap and use that so that when I'm drawing, I can rest my hand on the scrap and my scratch paper won't get touched. Another really cool trick is to use a pencil. Now the pencil will not scratch the surface. Instead, you get a very lightly drawn sketch. And I don't know if you can see it on the camera, maybe a little bit, but I can see that in person and it lets me have an idea of what to scratch off. Now if you make a mistake, you do not want to erase it. The eraser will do the same thing that your finger did. Let's see, a couple more tips. Usually when we draw, we are drawing with a black marker or with a pencil and we are using white paper. But this is the opposite, right? The black is already here. So if you were drawing like you had a pencil, right, we might color in the pupil. Now, when I scrape away my black, I'm going to use the nice thick round side here. Right, and that's how we would do that on a regular piece of paper. But because we have black here already, we want to draw the white. Now, what do you mean, Mr. Poulos? So I can draw that pupil, but I want to carve away the light part of the eye and leave the dark part of the eye. Now, this is going to look super weird, the two together, but it's just another way to be thinking about your project. So that is probably more of what you want to look for rather than that. Both are okay. It's just something for you to think about. My last tip for you, if you hear this, it gets super, super annoying. So what you want to do is instead of going back and forth and pressing really hard, hold your stick at an angle and try one direction. So just pulling toward your body, for example. And that gets rid of all that noise. When you want something to be colorful, I want you to actually get in there with your tool and scrape away the black. It shouldn't look like that, okay? I can tell that you wanted it to look blue, but you did not spend your time getting in there. Now that's not to say you can't find an area that you want to be half colored. So if you want it to be like a darker blue, what you can do is purposely do stripes. And by leaving some of that black in there, you can get some shading. Pretty cool. So a finished project is going to have thick lines and thin lines. If something is supposed to be completely colored out, you've actually gone in and taken your time to get that black out of there. If you make a mistake, you can have 2 pages today. And your first page, what I would suggest is, can you fix the mistake? Can you turn it into something else? Can you cut off a section and have a smaller piece of paper? Or can this just be my practice page? So before I try to make a cloud, hey, let me get in here and test some ways to make clouds until I find one that I like, right? So this can become like a test page for you. But at the end of the day, you can have 2 of these, take your time, enjoy it, and I will see you next time.